Hi guys, welcome to Treasury Capital Markets' first YouTube video. My name is Debo Mabua and I am the founder, CEO and the lead mentor of Treasury Capital. On this first video, we're going to be talking about the Nas100, okay, how to trade the Nasdaq 100, the things that move the Nasdaq 100, alright? So first of all, before the video even begins, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, of course, as well as hit the notification button so that you can be notified whenever we upload a video, because every time a video is going to be uploaded on this page, it's going to be packed with heat. All right, let's get straight to it. Wait, is it even recording?
All right, guys, let's get started. So before we even trade the Nasdaq 100, before we start drawing lines and looking for direction, etc., we need to know what the Nas 100 is. Okay, so just on a quick review before I actually open the charts, I just want to address a few of these things because it's very important to understand, the foundational work, which is basically the fundamental work. And as you know, at Treasury Capital, we prioritize fundamentals because they are what give us true price action. They are what gives us the moves. All right. So basically, what is the Nas 100? What is the Nas 100? Okay, if I was in a class, I'd be looking for hands up right now, but I'm here and I'm alone. Okay, so when we talk about the Nas 100, we're talking about a weighted index, okay, of the top 103 securities that are outside of the financial sector. Okay, how do I simplify that in layman's terms? Basically, the Nas 100 is an index, okay, is an index that measures the performance of the top 103 companies outside of the financial sector, okay, the top 103 securities, okay. So let me just say this is, come on, yeah, this is, okay, an index that measures the performance of the top 103 securities outside of the financial sector, okay. And these are mostly tech companies. These are mostly tech companies. All right. So the way it is that these companies are weighed out, okay, according to obviously the net worth of that company, the total net worth of the companies, right? And then they're weighted out. The reason why this index is there is for multiple reasons, okay. The first reason being that it gives it gives economists a better statistical point of view to know how the overall market is performing, okay, which is very important when we analyze economic data, okay. It's going to be impossible for us to look for at each company to try and find out how the total sector is doing, but when everything is summed up on an index, it's much easier to monitor and follow, okay. But now, as time has gone on, I think the Nas 100 it actually beats its purpose now, because the top companies in the Nas 100, the top 5 companies alone in the Nasdaq 100 make more than 20%, make more than 30% of the index, right? So that doesn't really equate to an overall view of the overall market, because I mean 5 companies out of 103 companies is not, it's a terrible ratio. But anyway, with that being said, it makes it easier for us to be able to analyze which direction the Nasdaq 100 is going to go, because then all we have to do is then analyze which direction these top 5 companies are going. All right. And let me just list down these top companies because it's important that we follow these top companies. The whatever happens in these companies, the direction will then happen to the Nasdaq 100 index. Okay, so basically you can call them indicators or signal providers. Yeah, indicators or signal providers for the directional bias of the Nasdaq 100. Obviously, then the top company we have is Apple Incorporated, right? Apple Incorporated, we know it crossed the net worth of 2 billion, 2 trillion. My bad, 2 trillion after it released the iPhone 12, and of course the Nas100 shot up at that period. Nonetheless, Apple actually weighs 13% of the Nas100. Okay, 13%. Let me space this out so that I can be able to put the others nicely. And then we have Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft Incorporated, which owns 10%, not owns, but weighs 10%. All right. Amazon. Then we have Amazon. Guys, this stuff is important to know, okay? Because if you follow the news of what happens in these companies, I'm telling you, you are going to have a clear understanding as to which direction Nasdaq is going to move and why it's even moving in that direction. Okay. I like trading something that I know, why it's moving in that direction. And I'm talking about um proper knowledge. Like how can I say this? I'm talking about fundamental knowledge, okay? Not just technical. I don't want to draw a line and then I say the chart moved that direction because I drew a line. That's where you actually differ when it comes to consistency, because when it comes to fundamental stuff, for instance, like the COVID-19, there is no trend line or technical analysis that could tell you that there was going to be COVID-19. Okay. But nonetheless, even just like when Trump tested positive for COVID-19, right? It killed a lot of technicals. But fundamentals knew exactly what it meant, to the charts. Okay, so that's how much they weigh. All right, so let's do a quick summation, which is 10 plus 10, that's 20, plus 5, that's 25, plus 17. These top five companies alone weigh 37% of the Nas 100 index. 37%. So whatever happens to these companies, okay, is going to happen to the Nas 100. So if you want to be a Nas 100 trader, I advise you to follow the news of these companies. Keep your eyes on what is happening around these companies, okay? Mostly the product launches, at what times, etc. It's good to keep up to date with these companies. Trust me, you will enjoy trading Nasdaq, okay? And then we also have the types of news. Okay, I already mentioned the releases, but then we also have the types of news like economic data, like from economic data that we want to follow. Guys, the number one news, okay? The number one news, let me tell you guys this, okay? That makes the Forex world go round, okay? Is interest rates. Interest rates. And I repeat this over and over and over to my students. Interest rates are the most important. Okay, because interest rates come from a monetary policy, right? And what interest rates determine whether or not money is going to flow into that sector or not. Okay, because think about it. If you're an investor, like we are investors as traders, right? You're gonna put money where you know there's gonna be a higher interest rate return. Right? But if you're a consumer, which means do you want to borrow money, that means you're gonna go take money from a sector where there's low interest rate because then you pay back less. Okay, but nonetheless, we know that over 90% of the money that is being circulated today is all debt. Okay, and that is why interest rate is important, because if a country has money, that means the economy can grow. You understand? So, and it's all determined by interest rates. Okay, obviously this lesson is not on interest rates, it's on the Nasdaq 100, so I won't get too deep into it. But we have interest rates definitely as number one. We have unemployment change, because remember, who works for these companies? People. And one thing I want us to understand, that majority of the liquidity that moves in the Nasdaq 100 is institutional. Okay, because banks invest in stocks, investment firms invest in stocks, hedge funds invest in stocks. Okay, so when they invest, also they put a whole a lot of money, okay? They don't put boma $100, $1,000 like we do. All right. Nonetheless, let's have a look at the Nasdaq 100 chart because we are tired of this guy's voice and his whiteboard, right? Yep. Already. So on display here, I'm going to open the Nasdaq 100 chart. Let's have a look at this chart. Sorry, it's still loading. It's still loading. Just continue. Yes, there we go. So as you guys can see, this is the Nasdaq 100 chart as it stands today. All right. Obviously, I had a few entries at 11,400, which is about here. And I'm still holding my position because I did estimate that it was going to make higher highs. Okay. And indeed it is. Nonetheless, you guys can see the Nasdaq 100 chart, right? You can see it. You can see exactly what it looks like. You can see what's happening. Correct? Yes. Now I'm going to open the Apple chart and I want you guys to have a look. How very similar or the same it is. You see, the same directional bias. See, remember Apple is the top company, okay? Now look at this directional bias. I'm going to go back to the Nas100 and I want you guys to have a look at the Nas100 again. Look at this. Look at Apple. Same. I know it's not magic. It's not magic. Trust me. But nonetheless, as you can see, like I'm saying, Apple will be the leading indicators. For instance, when this gaps up, when Apple gaps up like it did here, it gives us a strong indication that Nasdaq is going to shoot up. Nasdaq is going to have a positive direction. Okay. Why? Because what Nasdaq is made up of is having a positive directional bias. Let's have a look at Amazon. Same story, positive. All right. So as you guys can see, when I now talk about the type of news that is important when it comes to this, if we have a look here, this is on March the 20th. Special day for somebody. On March the 20th was my birthday, right? The interest rates decision was made that the Fed, actually Federal Powell, Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank in the US, he made an announcement. Basically, they made an announcement over that fundamental news that we know as FOMC statement, right? So he made an announcement to basically say that they are going to be dropping the interest rates by a few basis points. Okay. And when they dropped the interest rates, this was, remember, just at the beginning of the pandemic or in the middle of the lockdowns, etc., right? Where everyone was at panic. But those who had knowledge, those who had knowledge of what the drop in the interest rate means, all right, took advantage, because a drop in the interest rates means you can borrow money at a very cheap price. Okay. And the interest rate now, as it stands in the US, was at 0.25%. So basically, you could borrow money for nothing. And what do you do when you get money for nothing? You put it where you know you're going to get a return. You put it in the top companies like Apple. You put it in the top companies like Microsoft and Amazon, which is exactly what institutions did. Because they are always looking for higher returns for their investors, okay, for their investments. Okay, so basically, when everyone was panicking, I'm gonna lose my job, COVID-19, this, that, investors plunged in money into the stock market. All right, and of course, as we can see, it went up and up and up. This is like during lockdown, right, when everyone is saying things are so terrible, hey, whatever. The stock market is still there, raising, going to make higher highs. Okay, historical highs, by the way. The stock market has never reached these highs in any throughout all historical data. The stock market has never reached, even where it is today, is the highest it's ever been in the history of time. Okay, in the history of time. And this confidence came out last week. Not last week, I'm joking. It came out on Monday. He came out on Monday with the positive stimulus talks, all right, and the positive COVID-19 vaccine release. This is why I'm saying, guys, fundamentals are important. You need to follow the news. You need to know what's happening. And by follow the news, I don't mean you need to sit in front of the screen the whole day. And, they are just looking for entertainment. You're not looking for information. All right. So you need to follow the news. It will tell you exactly what is going to happen to the Nas100. I remember this drop here, this specific drop here was caused by the stock split. Okay. Apple and Tesla had announced that they're going to be doing a stock split. And remember, like I said, whatever happens to Apple, whatever happens to Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, these top 4 companies, because they weigh the most in this specific index that we're looking at. Whatever happens to them is going to happen to that index. Okay. So if you're supporting resistance or your trend line, or you see a head and shoulders and it's telling you to buy, my friend, let's stick to what is happening fundamentally before we look at technical stuff. All right. So this is basically, I would say, a part 1 of me introducing you guys to how to trade the Nasdaq 100. Definitely in the next video, I'm going to give you guys so much more information. And if you're looking forward to that information, subscribe, like, click the notification bell. All right. I'll leave my details at the bottom. At the video description, I'll drop my phone number there, the page to Treasury Capital, as well as my Instagram page, so that you guys can feel free to DM me anytime. I usually post stuff on Instagram. So if you want to keep up to date on a daily basis, then definitely go follow me on Instagram. I'll leave the link below. All right. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson, I guess, which will be due next week. All right. And please share, guys. Share this with your friends. If you find the knowledge enlightening, don't sit on it. Don't bottle up. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your fellow traders who you know it would help a lot. Okay. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. The market has enough for all of us to eat. All right. Love you guys. Cheers.